We've all heard a lot about AI, not only today, but over many months. Sweeping promises, predictions, great things, but not always have we heard about AI in the sense how it is actually applicable and progressing within enterprises. And that is what Sam and I are going to discuss today. Not so much about predictions, not so much what the promise holds, but a lot about what's really working, what's not, and how leaders within enterprises are actually working on AI as it relates to them. It's also not a lot about AI in business operations. We wanted to focus our attention on something which is closer to IT, how in IT operations AI is playing a significant role, something that has obviously been discussed a lot, but that's what we will be kind of sharpening our focus on. Now, before I dive into the discussion itself, Sam, I would like Sam to introduce himself and Microland and what we are going to discuss.
Thank you. Good morning. We have a minute more to go into good afternoon. Thanks for being here today. Microland's introduction is over. AI-led tech services company. Today, you will see why the enterprise IT is important. When we are talking about AI, we spoke a lot about business, AI leading to business or AI supporting business. Why is enterprise IT and AI, the importance of the focus is what we're going to talk about. We're going to take questions towards the end, and I'm going to let Abhishek lead this through.
Okay, thank you. So before we dive into the lesson, let's grab a seat.
Yeah.
I want you to do a quick pulse of the room. The question that I have for you is, as you are working in your organizations in terms of adopting AI, what I will say from my own experience, there are two ends of the spectrum. One, you have a very clear blueprint, and the other end, when people are in a test and learn mode. How many of you are in the test and learn mode? Okay, that seems to be the majority of the audience here, and I think that's
as
good.
Expected.
As expected. So, Sam, since the majority in this room is in a test and learn mode, the role that AI might play in these organizations is fixing what is really broken. And what I mean by that is, hey, people have gone through multiple S-curves already, whether it is automation, whether it's data science, and now AI is showcasing new promise. Based on what's broken inside the operations, what do you think AI can play as a role here?
Yeah, see, I think I should start with why is it broken, or is it broken at all? I'm going to go back to a decade. You've seen there are three main things that happened last 10 years, starting with digital transformation. All of you have heard and seen the acceleration of investments in digital transformation, including cloud-based transformation. Then you had a series of cybersecurity challenges, including ransomware attack. A lot of investment effort, time went into plugging the holes. Then the COVID pandemic that led to brought in a different type of work and transformation that was needed for IT. Now, when you went through each of these phases, those who are in IT operations or in a CIO or a CTO community today knows, we opened activities, approached things structurally, but we didn't get a chance to close them logically. So each of these phases still had open ends that was creating some sort of performance, cost, productivity challenges in IT. Now, when you have those open, mainly it's on enterprise architecture, it's mainly on data, on service model. Today, the AI, now automation is old as a part of digital transformation. True edge AI, including agentic AI, is the transformation that is happening today, is not impactful because of the open challenges that you have in the enterprise IT. So why is it broken is because the open holes that is unplugged is not giving you the return of AI. So I've seen the customers who have taken advantage of AI started with plugging the holes, what they have in the enterprise IT, in the architectural level, and the tools and automation level, and the service model level. Today's IT, if you see it, are primarily made for human-based service model. So, you understand architecture well, you understand service model well, you understand the tools and automation well. So, human-based service models to machine-augmented scale is a completely different game. So, when you talk about fixing the broken pieces, the first thing I've seen the enterprise doing is to plugging the holes that created in the past digital transformation era, transforming the organization from a human-based model to a machine-augmented scale model. Third thing is transforming the basic infrastructure. As per Everest research, close to 53 or 55% of the enterprises are not able to move to production or production phase of pilots because of lack of infrastructure availability or AI capable infrastructure. So second point is fixing the AI capable infrastructure, and third is getting the data right. Today's data is fragmented. You have a lot of static dashboards leading to incorrect or delayed decisions. So fixing the data, mainly the data lake and the data warehouses is the third point I would say needs to be fixed and can be fixed through AI to get the return on AI.
Interesting that you mention it, because when you were talking about AI-enabled infrastructure, and I was outside speaking with my colleague Prashant, who works on the financials of what's really happening across the industry. He was mentioning the fact that one of the pieces of analysis that we have done is that when we look at all the AI firms out there in the market, firms who are like building LLMs or applications versus set of firms who are building AI infrastructure, there is a significant gap emerging in terms of not only valuation and growth that they are seeing, the NVIDIAs of the world, and the gap is actually in favor of the infrastructure-based firms because the capacity is the game right now. And I recall this famous internal note that Ilya Sutskever had shared when he was still an employee at Google. And he had shared this idea internally, which was kind of ignored, but later became the real truth, is that, to quote him, we already have what we need within Google to build the best AI. We don't need to innovate a lot more on transformers or anything like that. What we need to build is as large a neural network as possible, and the only way it can be done, to quote Sam, through an AI-enabled infrastructure. And that note, I think it's 13 or 14 years back, is coming true right now in that sense. And I think, to your point, it's so timely that you're mentioning that. It's not only relevant for evolution of AI,
correct,
but even for enterprises who are looking to adopt AI.
Yep, I agree.
So on that note, I'd like to pivot to something and go back to the core of the discussion here, which is focused on the biggest blind spots that enterprises really have when they go ahead and adopt AI. You have been working with so many enterprises. You are a practitioner of that. You convince enterprises to start off on that journey. What are some of the blind spots, like the typical ones that you see?
See, I think we currently manage a lot of Fortune 500 companies in the US, helping them to transform to AI-based model. And I've seen successful companies in that and not so successful companies in that. One thing that I noticed, which is what is the difference between the successful and not so successful, the organization takes AI as a technology transformation program than a capability transformation program.
True.
I've seen organization recognize the need for capability transformation, and some organizations don't recognize that, and they take it as a technology transformation program. The blind spot I feel is the organizations don't recognize the capability transformation, often try to identify the wrong application of AI, often, and this point is very important, what is AI expected to do? Prompt and respond. But that is only 25-30% of the expectation from AI. AI is expected to prompt and respond, but also supposed to analyze, act, give you more information for informed decision for the future. Then the type of problems AI brings are very different than the human-based problem, because AIs can hallucinate. AIs can interpret the data differently and hallucinate it differently and throw into a different problems of AI or enterprise IT. Those type of challenges, when you don't transform the capability, the organizations are stuck and they stop the program. They're saying that no, they use security or governance as a guardrail to stop the program, but actually it's because they're incapable of identifying these mistakes and solving those problems. So first blind spot is organization capability transformation. Second blind spot I've seen is the data transformation. They tend to believe the existing data warehouse or the data lakes, etc., are AI capable. Now, when you don't try to reformat them, reinvest some time and money towards data, they will become a bolt-on AI project. Bolt-on AI projects is AI projects goes well, it stays as a bolt-on project, it cannot be integrated into workflow and enterprise systems. So the moment an AI stands in silo, the return on investment is expected to be half. So if you're supposed to get 100%, you get maximum of 50%. So we have seen some of those projects, because of ROI after 6 months, 8 months, not getting funding. So that is the second blind spot I've noticed. Third is budget. Nobody in the world knows the budget AI. Because you have, and this is a very important point, Abhishek, I've seen. When you jump into an AI program, everybody knows it reduces cost, improves productivity, or improves business alignment of any function. But they don't know there is a second order work gets generated in that organization. That means I probably may save myself from cooking, ordering Uber Eats, but I still have to clean the plates and do the dishwashing.
Yes.
So there's a second order work form that gets generated in the organization, and they don't budget for it. Because the data labeling work or prompt engineering work or sense monitoring, there are a lot of work that gets associated with AI that comes in after the project goes live, gets ignored completely, and budgeting not done. So that is a blind spot that I've seen. So many times when you don't have budget, what happens? It gets stopped. Then to restart, it's impossible.
Right.
So some of these blind spots, have you seen anything different or unique?
No, I mean, absolutely pretty much the same. In fact, that gives me an idea. I hadn't thought of doing this, but I would like to get a sense check, because you mentioned 3 blind spots: governance.
Yeah.
Second one is data. The third one is budget. So I know it's going to be a difficult kind of a show of hands, but if folks feel the biggest blind spots that you see within your organization is governance, then show me a 1. If it is data, show me a 2. And if it is budget, show me a 3.
Or if there is a fourth one that is very important that is missing.
I see a lot of 2s. A lot of people didn't raise hands. Okay, 3. Okay. Data seems to be the most popular one so far.
Yeah.
Seems like, yes, I mean, makes sense, because unified data fabric is one of those things that is a promise that AI, or I would say agentic AI, promises to deliver on, and that's where we see it as a work in progress.
Yeah. I think the recent research from Everest that I was going through, the number of AI projects or use cases that is not giving a return on investment for business is close to 85%. So that's a big number. So that means there is a lot of excitement when the project starts. There's a lot of excitement on how it is progressing. But when you're counting the return on what is invested, it is not happening. So it's only 15% of the project that is giving us a return.
True. So we spoke about blind spots. Now let's flip.
Yeah.
What are some of the most obvious things that you will recommend people to think of when they are adopting AI? Like, blind spots are things that people miss, but the obvious ones are the ones that you think should definitely be there. Like, that's how you start your conversations.
Yeah, it's very interesting, Abhishek, and all of you may relate to this. If you're in a technology function or in a CIO function, there is a smart person in the team and the loud person in the team. And the loud person always gets the AI project initiated. And the organization does not have the ability to validate whether that AI is going to give you the return or not. Or it sounds pretty exciting because the slides look good as how this is going to evolve.
Is that a recommendation you're offering? Be loud?
No. My first recommendation is there have to be, like we offer AI as a service, the organization change management part of it is something that we may have to focus on next 2 years for us to get this program right. There are organizations want to go through the change management program, but there are no service providers or the analysts like you don't have a good module to equip them to go into a AI journey. Because of that, there are wrong decisions that taken, and return, I can clearly see the return not happening. So one thing that I would recommend is the capability transformation that I referred to. Mm-hmm. And probably people like us have, and people like you may have to help the industry to help them choose, and maybe a skin in the game that, if you are recommending, then you should have a skin in the game to guide them, govern them, regulate them correctly till the return comes in. That is point number one. Point number two, there is a business, the AI that leads business, there is an AI that leads enterprise. Those two are distinct capabilities. The CIO community is beginning to learn the distinct capability of these two, and they started having people trained, educated, and the tools are distinct or different too. So you don't solve business problems in enterprise IT. Enterprise IT is going to keep the basics. You have to focus on keeping them running silently. I cannot send men to moon when my network is not working. So there is a lot of learning coming from getting the basics right. This has to be a silent operation. This has to be like your phone operating. It cannot.
I love your storytelling.
Yeah.
To get the project started, you need to be loud.
Yeah.
But to actually make it work, you have to work silently.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But let me ask you this. Do you think the market is prepared to launch or approve the AI projects the right way today? If not, what are the gaps?
I think the question, if I reflect on it, goes back to the equation we defined for what do we really mean by the right way. Earlier today, when I was speaking at the keynote, I teed up this topic about how organizations start to gravitate away from the core goals and sideshows take over. And that's where what we are noticing right now in most of the organizations is that the approaches being adopted for scaling AI become fragmented in different functions, different units, individuals, etc. That, by the way, is definitely needed because we are trying to amplify every part of our business, whether it's individuals, tech stacks, there. But the focus on the goals ultimately is the most important aspect. Karen is here in the room. She's leading that initiative for us at Everest Group, and she can tell you horror stories plus some of the success stories that we have seen in trying to get it done for ourselves. So yes, the right way has to be discovered for the organizations themselves. Like, how do we define what our organization really means by systems of execution, for example? What do we really want to achieve? How does that trickle down at an individual level for the tech stack that we are using? All of that. So yeah, I know it's a motherhood and apple pie catch-all kind of an answer, but that context-based AI is much more important than commercially off-the-shelf kind of AI, wherein you just get a tool and expect it to plug and play.
It took almost a year for us co-developing this with the Fortune 100 company, and we call it intelligently govern. We're trying to get it right. We're almost there. It gives you the guiding principles on how to get these programs right and how to govern these programs as a part of the enterprise organization. And today, interestingly, I think those who are tracking this news, there is a program called Robo Ballet. Can anybody guess what that program is about? That program is run by US, I'm trying to remember the agency or the... Robo Ballet is a program that is run to avoid the collision of AI and robots. So there are accidents now happen. Like I said, we are close to having, we currently have non-human workforce in our, not in payroll, but in our organization. And very soon those non-human workforce will have an employee number and a name. And they will be a part of the payroll. Because we would like to have our R&D on this as a profit center than a cost center. Now, if that is what it is, there are organizations like facing problems of, there are multiple AIs in silos created, colliding with each other and creating problem for the business. And in a manufacturing environment, the robots colliding with each other and having accidents. Accidents, nothing but downtime. So this Robo Ballet is a program that is started last week.
How do you spell the ballet? B-A-L-L-E-T?
E-T.
Oh, the ballet dance.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So they're dancing in the factories and the setup, right? So there are different programs now. It's trying to get the governance right. This is nothing but robo governance, AI governance. So governance is going to be something that we have to focus on educating and investing on, I feel, to get this right.
Got it. And I'm looking at the time. So one question for the audience, and before we wrap up, show of hands again. How many of you feel that while the ideas and examples that we shared here are useful, and among so many that you have probably heard today and you will hear tomorrow and in the last many months, how many of you think that making them work really requires approaches that reflect the specific realities of your organization rather than generic examples? Like, do you think yes? That seems quite a lot of people who are.
Yeah.
And we have done some research together that actually serves that purpose. Do you want to talk a bit about that?
I think there is a lot of work that is gone in already, and there is some work that Microland and Everest is doing together and publishing this research very soon. What you can see here, it's AI-powered tech fabric platform-led autonomous operations, research on that from the market with the customers, who's done it, who's doing it on different facets that will guide you through to get this right next 2 years. Next 2 years is extremely important for all of us. Industry is failing to get the return on investment. That means budget is going to be tight. Geopolitical situations and the tariff situations are going to create different other challenges. Skills are going to be short on AI, developing use cases. So we have some guidance coming through this research and experiences from the market. Please keep an eye on this. It'll be very helpful for all of you. Just drop into the booth. We have a booth outside here. We will be able to give you some material or some link where we can connect up in the future to guide. And Everest is working with us very closely for this. Yeah. Abhishek, thank you so much.
Thank you. It's a good self-reflection tool is what I see it as coming out. So now we'll take some questions if any in the audience have related to this topic. Specifically if it is related to AI and IT operations. Okay, so I'll repeat the question since the mic wasn't catching it. Sorry, your good name? Mohit. So Mohit was asking, since we spoke about context-based AI, what is the role of small language models in IT operations? Is that a good paraphrasing of your question? Sure. So I'll take it up, and if you have any perspective to add. So there are two things. One, what they should be using and how they should be using. But the base question here is, one of the big reasons why small language models have become so popular these days is also about how it optimizes for cost. Because large language models, being generic models, do not allow, sometimes lead to extreme upshoot of costs when organizations start running prompts, especially for IT operations, which traditionally and in the recent past has been very much focused on driving down costs. Now the question here is, how do we really use it? Now, there are very many companies which are coming up with IT or enterprise IT operations focused small language models that you can go ahead and adopt. But the point here related to the contextualization is, how does it work in relation to the kind of IT ops that you run for your organization? For a retail organization, because they deal with seasonality a lot, versus, say, for example, healthcare, which kind of deals with demand, which is their demand and how it translates on the IT side, their differences are, their needs are very different. So even the kind of IT teams that they have, whether it is from a quality perspective, development perspective, the pace at which they develop products, what kind of engineering tools that they need, the co-pilot stuff that they need, is very much different per their needs. So the small language models have to be associated with the kind of development that is happening. Because just to take the healthcare versus retail example, healthcare works with a lot of legacy technologies being fine-tuned for the future, whereas on the retail side, we see them adopt new technologies a lot or build new ones. So there is a very basic difference in approach there. So,
yeah, I think it helps you contextualize better and that you understand it's the first objective. And you see the recent technology development, like LLM, you now have LRM, language reasoning model, which is very close to our innovation on IT enterprises. And if you look at MCP, that is the protocol, which is Model Context Protocol, is very similar, that operates at a small language model, but it helps you contextualize the effort or the direction on AI. So the MCP, LRM, SLM, all these are getting matured better than what it's today. But LLM was always on top of the rank, but now you would see a lot more investment in MCP and LRMs going forward. A lot of innovation too. Yeah, I think for a specific to customer, what we are trying to develop something that can be reused, because investment specific to a customer is becoming a little prohibitive. It's not about one-time investment. It's about recurring changes that you have to bring in to enhance the features and the capability. So even if it is a small language model, I think it will be made in the factories of companies like us and reused and replicated with multiple customers with customization.
Yeah, so good that you kind of clarified that question. I have a slightly contra view on this, because there have been so many large language models and small language models already built out. I see the need for organizations to continue building more small language models actually taper off. A lot of people have done that. What happens on top of what is available out there in the market, like how do you build context-based applications, how do you use distillation, reinforcement learning to get more help out of it, that's what is really needed. That's where the IT operations can really contribute. And I'm getting from behind, so we'll need to wrap up.
But thank you so much. Thank you all for being with us today. Really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.